Guys, welcome to another video. You've got Mr. Everything English.
Everything Education. Tuition for maths, English and science.
Unseen poetry. Unseen poetry. The part of English literature, paper 2, that people think doesn't exist. People think that, I don't know, it's not there. Guys, this section of your exam is worth 32 marks. Give it its credit, give it its due, give it its respect. Don't glaze over it, don't ignore it, don't pretend it's not there, and don't wing it on the day. We're gonna try to capture every mark of this exam. We're gonna smash Inspector Calls, we're gonna smash the scene poetry, and now I'm gonna talk you through how you approach the unseen poetry element of your exam. Now guys, let's switch over to the board and let's begin. Should you ever require tuition, lessons, classes for English, maths or science, do head over to everythingeducation.co.uk. All of our English classes are taught by myself, Mr. Everything English, and our science and maths classes are taught by fully qualified teachers. Upon joining, you get access to our student portal. This is where you hand in your homework, receive your feedback, and you can chat to your teachers, including myself. So guys, should you require any support with your English, maths or science for any exam board, do head over to everythingeducation.co.uk or click the link in the description. Unseen poetry, guys. Unseen poetry is the middle child of English literature. It is the forgotten one. It is the one that exists but doesn't exist. Guys, unseen poetry. Why do so many year 11s not know about unseen poetry? Why do so many schools not teach unseen poetry? It's a part of the exam. It's an important part of the exam. Please focus on it. Now guys, unseen poetry. In your exam, unseen poetry has 2 questions. One question, guys, is worth 24 marks and one question is worth 8 marks. That is your unseen poetry section. Now for the 24 mark question, I want you guys to spend 35 minutes, and for the 8 marker, I want you guys to spend 10 minutes. And essentially guys, in this question, they will give us one new poem. One new poem that no one knows what it is. I don't know what it is. You don't know what it is. Your school doesn't know what it is. It's a complete random poem. And you must analyze that poem and produce 3 pretzel paragraphs. No comparison, nothing. Just 3 straightforward paragraphs. And then we have our comparison. Now in this one, this is important guys, listen up. They will give us a new poem. Guys, they will give us a new poem. But, listen very carefully, we must compare this new poem with the other unseen poem. So now we've got 2 unseen poems. One they gave us over here, one they gave us over here. Over here, the question is, you must compare this unseen poem with the one we gave you earlier. And for this one, guys, all I want is 1 paragraph. All I want is 1 paragraph. Trust me, I'll show you model answers that are top band that do 1 paragraph. Now, what paragraph structure do we use? Guys, use whatever paragraph structure you used for Power and Conflict, World and Lives. Whatever paragraph structure you used for that question, use the exact one again. So for those of you who followed my content, I used this. So simply, we're doing 1 more of these. Obviously, not as much detail in the effect, and we're doing it in 10 minutes. Now guys, let's go over the first 24 marker question. It is worth 24 marks guys, and as you can see straight at the top guys, it is very clear. AO1 is worth 12 and AO2 is worth 12. Easy, no more context. Don't touch context for this exam because you are not marked upon it. Don't talk about patriarchy, don't talk about Freud, nothing, because you are not marked for context for unseen poetry. Now guys, what are you marked upon? It's the same thing as before guys. We are marked upon our argument. We are marked upon our quotations. We are marked upon our techniques, meaning our methods, language structure and form. And we are marked upon our effects. Now, I'm going to say to you guys what I said to you guys in the comparison for poetry video. When it comes to your techniques, make sure you speak about language devices. These are things like similes, metaphors and so on. Make sure you speak about structural devices. Enjambment is when the line of poetry carries on with no pause. Caesura is when there's pauses throughout a line. Anaphora is when there's repetition. And a volta is the shift. Make sure you talk about the form. Epic is a poem about an event. Narrative is a poem that tells a story. Free verse is a poem that has no rules. Sonnet is a 14-line love poem. And dramatic monologue is a poem written in the first person. I. So guys, you're marked upon your argument, you're marked upon your quote, you're marked upon your technique, and you're marked upon your effect. Nothing new. Now guys, I'm not gonna have a paragraph war. I follow Pretzel. If you follow Peter or Peon or Potato, whatever you do that. But I will plan 3 Pretzel paragraphs. So in the unseen poetry, guys, don't be scared of it. The poem is never a hard poem because this poem needs to be understood by every kid in the entire country. From bottom set to top set. Did that the wrong way around, but you know what I mean, guys. Everyone needs to understand this poem. So the first thing I would like you all to do in your exam is go and read the question. The question will tell you what the poem is about. So this one says, what is the effect? Guys, this one says, what is the effect of the season of autumn? And the first thing I would like you to do, this is exactly what you do in your exam, guys. You have about 5 minutes to plan, 30 minutes to write 3 Pretzel paragraphs. Is pick your quotes. So autumn arrives like an experienced robber. That's quote number 1. Autumn cunningly covers his tracks. Quote number 2. And autumn changes the temper of the earth. That's quote number 3. So now guys, you know, as I told you literally 5 seconds ago, that the paragraph structure that I follow is point, reference, technique, effect, zoom, effect, and link. Now, if I'm sticking to Pretzel, what I know now is that I've successfully managed to now find 3 quotes. I've got 3 references. 1, references 2, references 3. I've now got my 3 quotes. Now guys, for each quote, I need to plan what's my point, what's my technique, and what's my zoom. Because I don't plan my effects, nor do I plan the link. But the other part of the paragraph I do. My effect, I'll write that when I do the paragraph. I'm not planning that. So, paragraph number 1. The effect of autumn. Autumn arrives like an experienced robber. I will do the first part, guys. Autumn is presented as a disturbance. That's my point done. My technique that I will be talking about is a simile. And I will be zooming in to the adjective experienced. And that is 1 paragraph, point done, technique done, zoom done. Paragraph number 2, autumn is cunningly covering his tracks. For this one, guys, autumn, what is the impact of autumn? Autumn, guys, is very, very evil. Autumn is very, very dangerous. That is what autumn does. For my technique, I'm gonna do the enjambment because this line of poetry carries on until the end, and when I zoom in, I will be zooming in to the adverb cunningly. Again, guys, I've got my point, I've got my technique, I've got my zoom. Now I'm going one more time. It changes the temper of the earth. Oof, autumn is powerful, guys. It is not a joke. And here, guys, I will zoom in to the volta. This is when things get serious. This is my shift in the poem. And I will talk about the symbolism of temper. Autumn doesn't just affect individuals. Autumn affects the entire planet. And that is my zoom complete. And that is my point. That is my technique. That is my zoom done. And that's it. I have planned 3 paragraphs. I've planned paragraph 1. I've planned paragraph 2. I've planned paragraph 3. All I would now have to do in my exam is write out these 3 paragraphs. 5 minutes planning, and as you saw, guys, it is quite doable to plan in 5 minutes. All you do is you look at the extract, you pick your 3 quotes. Remember, guys, you don't need to understand the entire poem. You need to understand enough of the poem to produce 3 paragraphs. In your plan, guys, I beg you, somewhere in your plan, try to have at least 1 structural device. For example, volta or enjambment. And try to, in your essay, talk about that in relation to the argument you're making. So guys, paragraph 1, I've said autumn is a disturbance, talked about simile and the adjective. Paragraph 2, I've said it's evil and dangerous. I've talked about enjambment and the adverb. And paragraph 3, guys, I've talked about how autumn is powerful. I've talked about symbolism and Voltaire. And all I do now at this point is I turn and write down my 3 pretzel paragraphs. Something I've done already for Shakespeare, something I've done already for Christmas Carol, something I've done already for Inspector Calls. I'm just doing it one more time. I'm just doing it one more time, guys. Nothing new. Unseen poetry is easy to get high marks on because very few people do it compared to all the other questions. That's why you find the threshold for what is 21 out of 24, 23 out of 24 isn't that hard. So guys, plan 3 paragraphs and write 3 pretzel paragraphs for this question. That is all I need you to do in your exam. Then guys, we're gonna move on to the final unseen poetry question. This is the world's easiest mark scheme. Look at it, guys. There's no AO1, there's no AO3, there's no descriptors here. It's literally such a simple mark scheme. So for the final unseen poetry question, you're only marked on AO2 and you're marked out of 8. Now what are you marked upon, guys? To get top band, you must compare language, structure and form, and you must do effect. Look at that. That's it. That's all you got to do. In that one paragraph, you must compare language, structure and form, and you must make sure you give a good effect. But how do we do that really? Let's have a look. So here is the 8 marker unseen poetry question. The question says, in both today, which is the poem that they've just given me, and the poem Autumn, which is the one that I've just done, speakers describe attitudes towards the seasons. What are the similarities and or differences between the way they present these attitudes? Simple question. What is the similarity or difference between the way they present their attitudes towards the seasons in these poems? So I already know that the last poem presents autumn in a bad way. I know that already. So let me do this poem first because I already know what I'm comparing it to. Lovely, guys. Literally, guys, I'm going to start with the first line. A spring day so perfect. Forget the rest of the poem, guys. I'm tired. I've been doing a 2 hours and 10-minute exam. I've got 10 minutes left. I'm not going to waste my time reading the entire poem. Just get your stuff and move on. So, a spring day so perfect. A spring day so perfect. What's my point here? What's my reference? I've got my reference. What's my technique? My point and what's my zoom? My point over here, guys, is that the writer loves the seasons. The writer loves the seasons in this poem. My technique, a spring day so perfect. Here, guys, I'm going to talk about the enjambment, how the line carries on in the poem. If ever there was spring day so perfect, sought by a warm interim breeze that made you want to throw open all the windows and unlatch the door. And here, guys, I'm going to talk about the epic nature of this poem. This poem tells us about the event. It tells us about the arrival of the season. So that's that. Now, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm not going to plan a brand new paragraph for the last poem. I'm going to reuse one of the paragraphs. So which paragraph shall I do? So in that one, I'm saying that they love the season. Which one of my 3 quotes presents autumn as being terrible? I'm going to do the first one, like an experienced robber. And I'm going to compare over here to the poem, point, reference, technique, and zoom. Here I'm going to talk about like an experienced robber. In this one, guys, the guy hates the seasons. My technique is a simile, and I'll talk about the enjambment here also. So now if you look at my answer, I've got language, I've got structure, I've got form. I'm now ready to get 8 out of 8. I'm now ready to get 8 out of 8, guys. I'm ready, primed, good to go for my exam. Now, how are we going to be writing out these paragraphs? Here is a model answer. This answer was given 7 out of 8 by the exam board. Have a look, guys. It was given 7 out of 8 by the exam board. One paragraph is all the kid wrote. Let's mark it. Both Bold and Collins present their feelings about seasons. However, Bowl presents autumn to be conflicting, whereas Collins presents spring as beautiful and liberating. This here, guys, is their point. Collins uses a semantic feel of freedom and nature, breathe, canaries, peony sunlight. That's their quote and technique. So that's their reference and their technique. Suggesting that spring allows the release of nature and happiness. That's their effect. Bowl uses a semantic feel of chaos and destruction, shake, blown, chills and rage. That's their reference and technique from the other poem to suggest that autumn causes turmoil and confusion. That's their effect. Then they go back to the first poem. Bowl uses one long stanza with lots of enjambment. That's their zoom to show the lack of control and order caused by autumn. Oopsie daisy. Caused by autumn. That's their effect. Then they zoom into the other poem. Whereas Collins uses regular stanzas with enjambment. That's their zoom to show the freedom and liberation that spring allows. Now, as you can see, guys, the way I marked it, they literally followed the structure above. They literally did that. And they got 7 out of 8. Now, guys, look at their effect. Look at their effect to get 7 out of 8. Top band. Effect number 1. Spring allows the release of nature and happiness. Effect number 2. Autumn causes turmoil and confusion. Effect number 3. Enjambment to show the lack of control and order caused by autumn. And the last effect, the enjambment to show the freedom and liberation that spring allows. Literally, guys, look at their effect. They've got 4 effects. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4. But look at their effects. They're not long at all. Now, guys, you have to understand, I keep saying this, the majority of year 11s are simply not doing this question. They're going to leave it blank. Marks are up for grabs because they're going to lower the grade boundaries for those of us that will be doing this question. So please approach this question. Give me 1 paragraph. Follow this structure. 10 minutes. Spend 2 minutes planning. Get me 1 paragraph done. And you're good to go in your exam. And hopefully, guys, you're going to walk out with 6, 7, 8 out of 8. On results day, that's equivalent to 1 grade. So don't underestimate this question. All right, guys, let's recap the unseen poetry element one more time. Guys, I have an app, Everything Education. There is an app in the App Store and an app in the Play Store. So if you click the link in the description, do go and download the app. The app has almost 15,000 questions and it is updated weekly. I believe it's on the verge of becoming one of the best apps for your learning. It covers everything for English, everything for maths, and everything for science. So guys, do head over to the App Store or the Play Store and do download the Everything Education app. 2 questions. 1 question, guys, is 24 marks, 35 minutes. You get 1 poem and you're doing 3 paragraphs. The last question of the exam is an 8 marker. You got 10 minutes. You get another poem and you're comparing this one to the earlier unseen poem. Now, when it comes to the first unseen poetry question, you're marked upon AO1 and AO2, the same as you've always been, but there's no AO3. There's no context needed for this question. Now, how do you approach this question, guys? We're doing pretzel as we have always done. 3 paragraphs, you want to include language, you want to include structure in your response, and you want to be able to discuss them throughout, linking them to the question. 3 pretzel paragraphs and you're good. Then you move on to the unseen poetry question, the second unseen poetry question, the 8 marker. You're only marked upon AO2. Give me language, give me structure, give me form, give me effect, and you're good. So all you do is you plan 1 paragraph from the second unseen poem and you steal 1 paragraph from your previous unseen poem and you simply plan it like that. And then you produce a paragraph that looks something like that, and that is the end of your unseen poetry element of your exam. Now, guys, if I was you guys, what would I do? I would simply go to everythingeducation.co.uk. I would click on past papers. I would go to English literature and I would click on paper number 2 and I would load up a past paper, any past paper. I would scroll all the way down to the unseen poetry and I'll try my best to answer the unseen poetry question using the structure I just did. 3 pretzel paragraphs, then 1 paragraph for the comparison, and see how you get on. But guys, you're gonna need that practice. Please do that practice. Don't neglect it. Put that work in and get that practice, and don't underestimate unseen poetry. Unseen poetry is an important part of the English literature exam. It's as important as Shakespeare, as important as 19th century and the modern text and the power and conflict and the love and relationships. So please give it your best shot. Alright guys, it's been Mr. Everything English. Peace.